is one rule for Labour politicians and one rule for the rest of us. Chancellor Rachel Reeves broke the law. She was renting out a property without a rental licence. She then misled the Prime Minister, the ethics advisor and the public when she said she didn't realise she needed one. Well, that's interesting because she actually posted on X just 11 days ago this. I welcome Leeds City Council's decision to expand their selective landlord licensing policy. This means private landlords in the area will be required by law to obtain a licence. Right, so then all that came out. Miraculously, she's changed her story, hasn't she? Now it's the estate agent's fault. For once, I'm on the side of the estate agents. So they said that they'd sort it, and then they didn't. Well, I'm sorry, but if that was you or me, I have a feeling that we'd suddenly find that the onus was still on us to make sure that it had been done. For example, if you have an accountant and they come up with some, clever tax scheme, well, it's ultimately you who has to pay it, isn't it, when it's found that they messed it up, just ask Jimmy Carr. But what punishment could Rachel Reeves face in the real world? What would we face, right? Unlimited fines. Upon conviction in a magistrate's court, the landlord may face an unlimited fine. Civil penalties. Local authorities can impose a financial penalty of up to £30,000 per offence as an alternative to court prosecution. Rent repayment orders. Rachel Reeves could owe 38 grand to her tenants. They can ask for 12 months' rent. Banning orders. Landlords who commit serious offences, including operating without a licence, may face a banning order preventing them from running a rental property in the future. This is my favourite, though. Inclusion on the rogue landlord database. Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, lovely stuff. Convicted landlords may be added to a national or local rogue landlord database. By the way, the same council, Southwark Council, just prosecuted a man who broke the same law as Rachel Reeves. So that's happened. Do we think she'll face any punishment? No, she won't, will we? Because she's a Labour Chancellor, and Labour, though, have spent the last few years calling for everyone to resign for everything. I mean, so has Keir Starmer.
You cannot be a lawmaker and a lawbreaker. And it's time to pack his bags.
She's a lawbreaker. Is she packing her bags anytime soon? But this is fine. He'll back her, though. In fact, he has backed her. This is just the latest time, though, that the law hasn't applied to a Labour politician. David Lammy went fishing without a rod licence. There you are. It was. Don't worry, everyone. It was an administrative error. It was an administrative error. He could have been fined £2.5 grand. No punishment. But they're all at it. The corruption minister had to go over allegations of corruption, which she denies. The transport minister went over low-level insurance fraud. A housing minister and Deputy Prime Minister Angela Rayner had to go over a problem with her housing. The US ambassador, Peter Mandelson, went because of his links to Jeffrey Epstein. And the Prime Minister claimed he knew nothing about that. Oh, I didn't know anything. Well, we all knew. We all knew. Everyone in this room knew. We've had the China spy scandal, Lord Ali's freebies, beer and Cormagate in Durham, the potential COVID rule breaches. It's relentless. I think this is the most crooked government that we have ever had.
We're living in a time of what feels like pretty significant social change, and it makes us question things that we've even taken for granted for decades. And one of those at the moment that people are wondering about is actually money. Is the money in your bank account safe? Should you be investing elsewhere? Are we looking at a potential global crash? What will it mean for your savings? Is there a way that you could be using your money that might be outside of government control even? Well, TallyMoney is potentially one solution. So I'm delighted to say that I'm joined today by the CEO and founder of TallyMoney, Cameron Parry. What is TallyMoney?
Well, at TallyMoney, you basically get gold you can spend. So we give people an individual account in their name, everyday account. They get a sort code, an account number. They use that account just like they would pounds from their bank, but it's milligrams of gold that we brand as Tally.
Okay. Why would you do that, though? What is the benefit to the customer instead of just having a normal pound sterling account?
Gold's performance against the pound is above 11% per annum over the last 25 years on average. but we still need money in our daily lives. And we have savings. We know that it's good common sense and prudent to save up for things, not just living credit. You know, whether it's a holiday or a rainy day, your retirement planning, you need to have money in your life, basically, that you can rely on, that's dependable, that nobody meddles with, that nobody can weaponise against you, which is another element of government control when it's the government currency, which we could talk about another time. And it should be pretty simple and straightforward. And that's what we deliver at Tally. And really, we just want people to feel safe and happy with their money. There was a time when the bigger your bank balance, the more confident you felt. Now it's like, I need to do something with it. I can't leave it there. In Tally, you can.
Okay, brilliant. Cameron Parry from TallyMoney, thank you so much.
Thank you, Bev.
Let's get the views of our panel. Christian.
Oh, I'm so glad you started with me because I am furious about this. Throw the book at her. Throw the pumpkin at her. Right. I am a buy-to-let landlord for my sins, and I have had to do one of these licences, right? You have got to do so much. You've got to give them a floor plan of your house. You've got to give them Ed Miliband's Looney Energy Performance Certificate. You've got to give them your electrical certificate, your gas certificate. You've got to jump through hoops. I swear to God, the only thing they didn't ask me was for my inside leg measurement, which I would have volunteered, actually. So I just don't understand why. And by the way, it's all unnecessary. It's all admin rubbish. And I had to hand over £1,000 to the council, right, in order for them to give them all the stuff I had to have anyway. So it's a money-making scam, but we all have to do it. Why? Because they love admin, they love red tape, and they love hammering us. Look at the Renters Reform Bill this week. I mean, what a week it's been for landlords. That absolutely barking mad piece of legislation, which means you can't get rid of a tenant, you can't put your rent up. It's absolutely insane. Now, Rachel Reeves was endorsing this legislation. She was tweeting about it. She campaigned for it. So then she says she didn't know anything about it. So it is complete hypocrisy. She is in the wrong. Throw the book at her. But then I thought, you know what? Am I being harsh?
Oh.
Just before I came on air, I realised something. I had a revelation.
Oh.
I had an epiphany.
Oh.
Because I realised that the problem here is administration and maths. And of course she's no good at administration and maths, because look at our economy. She's rubbish at it.
I want to go to the audience. There's a chap on the front row I think would like to make a point. So what would that say, sir?
Right. The government is formed at a request from His Majesty the King. Isn't it time, having done what he's done to Andrew, to actually pull in Keir Starmer and say, dissolve this government and let's have a new...
I imagine that would be unprecedented, but it seems to be a popular view, doesn't it? It seems to be a popular view. And I take it so that you don't think that Rachel Reeves will face any kind of prosecution or consequences for what she's done?
No, I don't.
No.
But I tell you now, if I had done it, and not got the licence for one of my properties, they would have thrown the book at me.
All right.
It's such hypocrisy.
I am being told that I have now got to say we don't condone anyone literally throwing anything at the Chancellor. So, Adam, your views on this?
I think I speak for many when I say it's the hypocrisy of this government that really gets our backs up. If they was doing well with the economy, we could probably let things like this slide and give them a little bit more room. But let's remember, her last budget with the national insurance contributions rise has meant that more businesses are shutting than ever at a record pace, and that unemployment is at a 5-year high. This government is tanking our economy, is killing our country, and we want them to act and behave as they expect us to behave. Now, she did break the law. You do know if you've paid 980 quid for a licence. I don't care. She's not a multi-millionaire. You know, I would know, and you would know if 980 quid come out of our account to know that we haven't got that licence. Right. They're putting it on the letting agents. That stinks to me. What suddenly the employee left a few days later. They don't normally do this service, but they did it for her. Absolutely stinks. And I'm not calling them liars, but I don't believe the story. Look, it's just the hypocrisy, and my back is up, and I think yours is as well.
Yeah, Connie, your views on I suppose this, but also the wider point about how generally kind of crooked this particular government is.
Yeah, I mean, they obviously, with the claims that they make, and Starmer saying if you're a lawmaker, you can't be a lawbreaker, anything like this looks so ridiculous. After having been in opposition for 14 years, I think they forgot how difficult it is to keep track on everyone, not having stupid mistakes like this. And obviously, it's a horrendous look for the government after scandal, specifically within the cabinet. I feel slightly bad for Rachel Reeves. I have a bit of a soft spot for her, but at the same time, the fact that there isn't being an investigation launched makes it seems like there's something to hide, even if you do believe what the emails are saying. But there also should be an investigation to Suffolk Council. That's a Labour-run council, and as far as I'm aware, if I've got this right, this is over a year ago that she started renting this apartment out. By the time she
it'd be interesting that because I believe, I'm willing to be fact checked on this, but I believe that her sister is the MP for that particular area. So, gosh, well,
but we're not implying anything.
We're not implying anything. We're interested to see whether or not they would launch any kind of investigation. Go on, Andy. I imagine you're gonna stand up for them here, are you?
I'm extremely fortunate that you've built up through the three panellists and the audience according along as we, so I can kind of bring an end to the conversation about this. I think your kind of statement that this is the most corrupt government in history is just wrong and stupid. When you listed off the things about a ROD licence, about Louise Hay doing some low-level insurance fraud over a phone when she was working over 15 years ago, you know, this Angela Rayner's housing thing. I think when you compare it, when you compare it to, you know, even the last Tory government, those hundreds of millions that got sent to their mates for our money on PPE contracts that didn't work, people that died because they gave money to their mates to, you know, provide services that didn't work, and you say that this because David Lammy went off without a ROD licence, he's the most corrupt.
So your genuine argument is look over there at the Tories, they were bad too.
I'm saying the opening line of saying this is the most corrupt government is wrong. Well, it's just not true.
Some of the donors that have got contracts from this Labour government over the last 15 years as well.
Who?
I can't name them.
Well, there you go. Who?
Sure, I'll be
name me one donor who's got a contract.
Well, just stay on this. So when, because for a lot of people it's the hypocrisy, right? So when Rachel Reeves and Keir Starmer openly called for someone like Rishi Sunak to go over what was unequivocally an inadvertent law break, which was the time I believe he turned up. He turned up early for a meeting in cabinet, and someone else presented Boris Johnson with a birthday cake, and Rishi Sunak happened to be in the room, right? They called for him to resign over that. So why shouldn't Rachel Reeves go over there?
I think the precedent was he had been. I think the difference was, and you forgive me if I'm wrong, I think he'd been prosecuted by that point. I think if Rachel Reeves faces prosecution, she should resign. Absolutely. I think if she's prosecuted, she should go. But I don't think we should be. I don't think we should be bringing it forward.
Literally,
does she? I don't think the Chancellor wants to resign.
Here we go.
Literally, you
Hang on, Christo. Hang on. Sorry, you're going to have to make way for a strong, powerful woman here. Go on. What would you like to say?
I think she wants to go. I think she's actually wanting to go, and that's the only way out. She will not be doing the budget at the end of November.
That's right.
No.
I mean, she looks very unhappy.
Well, she has literally cried a couple of times.
You've got the absurd situation this week, right, where the Labour supporters all this week for the Renters' Rights Bill were all saying, look, it's really important, this administration, and it's really important that, you know, landlords are held to account. Then 3 days later, they're all saying, well, actually, no, it was only a little licence, it doesn't matter, none of this actually matters. It's so hypocritical. She has to go.
But let's remember... Normally, if a Prime Minister loses their Chancellor, that is curtains for the Prime Minister.
Hurrah!
So I would say that Keir Starmer is very reluctant, even if he wants her to go and thinks she's doing a bad job. I mean, his letter last night was quite eye-opening, the wording of it towards her. That he wouldn't want to signal that he's got a weak government We know he's got a weak government, but that would seem...
I tell you who might want to go. Mr. Reeves. Poor guy. Honestly, throw him under the bus, didn't she? Honestly, poor Mr. Reeves.
If he's been dealing with the emails, and that's what they're claiming, and they've given, obviously, you may believe they've all been fabricated, but if we take it on good faith, and he was dealing with the emails, it probably wasn't Rachel Reeves dealing with these emails.
Well, don't they have pillow talk? Isn't a Labour household's pillow talk like landlord licensing stuff?
I can assure
they
you
talk
it's not.
about that?
Can I just also point out that Rachel Reeves' husband is a top civil servant? So
No, not that top.
Well, no, but the point is that I think these are people that we assume should be across the detail. And if Rachel Reeves is about to, I'll put this to you, Connie, and we go to Andy, but if Rachel Reeves is about to, which she is, launch another budget, and during which I think many people are probably going to get clobbered. We're going to talk about this later on, where is it anyone who's earning over 46 grand is now classed as a rich person, for example, is ridiculous. If she can't even, quite literally, run her own household, how can we expect her to run the budget?
I get that he's a top civil servant, but I probably imagine he probably wasn't quite as busy as she was moments before she went into number 11. That to me, I just think, if it wasn't her dealing with it.
I've got to say one more thing, please. Sorry, but honestly, right. But it's about stupidity. How thick do you have to be that you're stood there going, oh my God, right, this new landlord licensing, I'm so happy that it's coming, and you wouldn't just think, God, I wonder if I've got one for the house that I rent out. How thick?
In every area.
Well, you would check though, wouldn't you? You'd look it up.
Go on. So you think Keir Starmer, just reputationally for Keir Starmer, for Rachel Reeves and everything like that, they're going to expect the British public to just ignore all of this and carry on?
I don't think it's ignoring. I think they've referred it through the proper channels. The Prime Minister's advisor on ministerial ethics, the Ministerial Standards Commissioner. They've passed it through. They've found that she shouldn't have to resign. So it's kind of like.
So they're marking their own homework.
Well, no. They are independent civil servants. To be clear, I think when we start accusing them of being the pocket of other parties, I think you're going down a slippery slope there.
No, it's interesting. Independent civil servants. How many of them end up working for the Labour Party? But anyway, right. Sorry, sir, on the front row. We were out of time for this section, but keep the mic, because I'm sure you'll probably want to get stuck onto the next segment. And we're doing a bit more Rachel Reeves later. So there you go. Here we go. In a letter to the Prime Minister, Chancellor Rachel Reeves wrote, there are selective licensing requirements in this ward for renting out property. Regrettably, we were not aware that a licence was necessary, and so we did not obtain the licence before letting the property out. This was an inadvertent mistake. As soon as it was brought to my attention, we took immediate action and have applied for the licence. Right, OK, I know, I rein it in. All right, lively start, love it, but you know what, it just keeps getting better and better because it's never too early to think about the festive season. And how would you like to have your Christmas on us this year? Is this a new Great British giveaway? It is! Oh, fantastic. Oh, I'm excited now. I was a bit over the moat at home. I'm excited. Now, let's see what happens here. So, it's £40,000 in tax-free cash. And you can have the Christmas of your dreams. And £1,000 to spend on a luxurious Christmas lunch and a Christmas-themed GB News goodie bag for under the tree. And the best news, you'll all get it